You must build a 5-story building. And this is how you get your wealth and power. Now, the first thing you work on is economics. You started practicing group economics, making your money bounce in your own community 8 to 12 times before it leaves. The second floor is politics. Our people got that backwards. They want to get into politics before they get in the economy. Backwards as hell. You won't make it. You buy every politician with the money you made on the first floor. The third floor is your court system, your police system. You control the court system so they won't be getting 40 years in jail for having marijuana. Then the fourth floor is media. You take your money off the first floor and you buy media. Black folk own 35 thousandths of 1% in media. You don't own media, you can't communicate, you can't organize, you can't motivate. The fifth floor is education. Education is a tool, just like a hammer and a saw. But you got to have an economy. See, when a kid graduates from school, the first thing you do, he should be able to go back to his own community and start building businesses and industries and drawing money into his community and hold it.
Thank you for tapping in. This is Brian H. Rap B. Williams. This is the End of the Bench Media. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I say again, thank you. Interesting episode today called Soul Food. We are soul food, and that is a metaphor, obviously. I want to talk about a few things in regards to soul food and how they are linked to who we are and how we have created this culture. Remember, last episode it was about culture. We've created this culture within these United States of America. Thank you for tapping in. If you are not watching this live, I want you to go to www.endofthebench.com. It is important. You guys been slipping lately, but still, thank you. Go to www.endofthebench.com. You'll be able to watch the Black History video as well as this video in its entirety. You'll be doing me a favor. You'll be doing the guy who hosts the videos that I do. His name is Country Boy. He has his own page here on YouTube, or you can go there and help both of us out. It is thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, I thank my parents every episode, Dolores and John. Without Dolores and John, there'd be no me, and you would be doing something else with your valuable time. This is a program called A Few Minutes with H-Rap. The End of the Bench Media presents this, and this is what the title of this is. Now, soul food. Soul food is something that comes from our community, our culture. It is who we are. Guess what? I even have changed the narrative to that being, we are soul food. We are soul food. How can we be a dish? How can we be a meal? Because soul food isn't chitlins and ham and yams and greens and cornbread and whatever else you put in it, dressing and things of that nature. That's not soul food. The soul food is the care and the ingredients. We put our soul into our food. Listen to the terms in which we describe a well-cooked meal. We say, man, you put your foot in that. That means you put everything into it. And in order for it to actually be soul food, you must put your all into it, your everything. You ever notice that your grandparents and your parents' meals taste a little better than yours? Not your meals to the people who you're preparing for, they taste good. But then when you go to your mom's house, your kids have a little different response. And then when you go to your grandma's house, they have an even better response. That's because of the soul we put into preparing meals. That's because we've made a dinner a metaphor for love, compassion, care, and family, as well as even, I will go as far to say, community. We are soul food. That's why I said that. And what we've gotten away from, like, this is the September is the beginning of the end of the year. September, October, November, December, and then it's a whole new season. Well, a whole new calendar year, Gregorian calendar. We're not gonna get into that. But what I want us to understand is this: when we are dealing with soul food, what I want us to understand is this: soul food is who we are. It's not something that we prepare, it's something that we are. We are the dictionary definition of soul food. Why do I say we're soul food? Because we are the ingredients, we're the spices, we're the extra onion, we're the pinch of this, we're the pinch of that. And you're going, like I said, this is the end of the year. What's coming up? The holidays. And traditionally in our community, the holidays are a big thing because we're family oriented and we come together as a tribe, as a community, as a function. And we embrace each other and we put ourselves in situations to where as we can enjoy each other. But of late, it seems that we're drifting further and further apart. This is why I call the community, the Black diaspora in America, soul food, because when you take ingredients away from candy yams. It's a little extra you throw in there, the cinnamon, the extra spice. You may add salt or something of that nature. When you take away this, and you can tell if it comes out of a can. You can tell if somebody took the care. When we move away from each other into quote unquote better neighborhoods, or we allow our communities, if we don't participate in government and allow our communities to be gentrified, we're taking things away from the soul food. So the soul is slowly dissipating, and then we just have something to eat. And that's what the communities, coast to coast, border to border, the United States of America have become. Just a bunch of people. We are no longer communities. You may say hello, but do you engage? Are your children engaging? Like I said the other day, we have terms like auntie, unc, stuff like that, brother, cousin, because we've been around each other, and we've put ourselves in this mix, this neighborhood, this community, and it's like a gumbo. And you be around people so long, and then your mother knows your best friend, and your best friend knows your mother, and sometimes if the community is being run right, your friends and elders, other people in the community will check up on your mother when you're no longer there, whether you're going away to school, going away to the military, or just moved away, period. Those people are still there, and they keep that gumbo going. That's why the community has to be in the midst of a rule, and we no longer are preparing that rule. We're just rice and beans and chicken, but we always have to go back to the basics, creating that rule. And then when you create that rule, you add in the ingredients. Then you add in the ingredients, and then the ingredients are the people. And then the love comes in. Then it's a communal aspect. That's why I want you to understand we are the main ingredients. If you want your community to work properly, we must first and foremost engage in our families. We must stop engaging with people that we have no intention to have a future with. Oh, and I'm just hanging with him because, or I'm just hanging with her because. We can no longer do that. The community is disjointed because of this. If you don't see a future with your homie, no, we're not your homie, your significant other. We need to separate from these people because they're holding us down. You are stopping me from being the greatest I can be. See, a lot of people in this community, we've got to the point where we identify what's wrong, but that's criticism. Oh, that's just constructive criticism. No, that's not constructive criticism. That's just being critical because you see the flaw, because you you more than likely can identify those same flaws in yourself. So if you're not pouring into yourself, you're not pouring into your community, you're not pouring into your community, you can't uplift. You can't uplift. You can't rise. You cannot rise alone. One piece of yeast does not make bread. One piece of salt does not make the ingredients. You need the salt, the yeast, the water, the flour, and every other thing. You need to knead it. You need to allow it to cultivate and then develop into a rising dough. Then the rising dough needs to be put in the oven, and then it needs to wait, and it needs to bake. And then you have bread. We have adjusted to the Americanized system that is a microwavable society, meaning it needs to happen right now. But it's nothing that happens right now. When you make it, you haven't made it unless someone comes along with you. You do not make it unless you leave the door open so somebody else will come in with you. You leave him there, you move forward, and it's a cyclical thing. People say pass the torch. No, we're no longer going to pass the torch because look, if I have a torch and if I don't have a torch and you don't, and I pass you the torch, now I'm in darkness. We're going to light each other's torches. I show up with a torch. We touch torches. Yours lit, mine lit. That's illumination. And that's the ingredients to a communal situation that is flourishing. And it is provocative and enhancing. Yeah, provocative draws people in, enhancing uplifts them. So you have spectacle and spectacular. Spectacle will make people look. Spectacular makes them stay and shop with us. If you don't understand these things, then I understand. But we have all the ingredients for a successful Black community here in America. Every day in our community, we don't need anyone in the entire world to enhance us. Black people in these United States of America, We don't need the government. We don't need industry. We don't need anybody but black people, because there's enough of us to become enough doctors. There's enough of us to become lawyers. There's enough of us to become political scientists and politicians. There's enough of us to get anything done. But what we do is we enhance by that soul food. The soul in the soul food makes us who we are. The fact that we don't give up. Like I said, being not giving up is part of our culture. Creativity is part of our culture. Stick-to-itiveness is part of our culture. Developing things and enhancing and loving is part of our culture. But when you take what you can get and you move it down the way, other people eat off your culture, and it reduces your portion of the culture. And it also takes away from the original size of the culture. People always say, hey man, but you want to be in a better situation. No, you don't have to be in a better situation. You can make your situation the better situation. Like, a lot of people like to reference other communities like their community, but everybody from those communities stay. And if they move away, they take a portion of their community and rebuild and reestablish. That's why history is paramount. When you see history, you don't see people move away from their people and stop those traditions. They just create more lanes for those traditions. We can no longer attempt to make something out of nothing. We must take the ingredients, which are the people, which is the spirit of the people, which is the history of the people, which is the culture of the people, which are the traditions of the people, and plant them where we're going. We can no longer uproot ourselves, plant ourselves, and adapt other cultures unless they're beneficial. And then you inculcate those cultures and in those rituals and those traditions into ours, making ours paramount, and then weave them into others. Much like the invention of the kente cloth with the Ashantis, and they took over a tapestry tribe, and they created what we know as kente cloth to establish the dominance of the Ashantis, but making them a part of the culture, the other tribe a part of the culture as well. But we must identify ourselves as the main ingredients. But if we don't, we will continue to attempt to add and subtract and multiply and divide, but we don't have to, because the extra sides are what is destroying us. See, the more you add, like for example, when you talk about soul food, you talk about chicken, and if it depends on if you eat pork, you talk about pork rolls and things of that nature, greens, beans, potatoes, tomato, chicken, turkey. But you notice you'll never hear anybody say steak, because steak is a little more difficult to digest. And we used to raise hogs, and a hog could feed a whole slough of people. And I'm not, oh man, I don't eat pork. Let's not get into that. Listen to the story, not the actual details. Listen to the story. The story is more important than the foolish details that you would like to pick apart. Because the point is, when you raise your own food, it's a more pure food. It's a more digestible food, and you don't overeat because you're sharing. See, when you add in those extras like steak and filet mignon and all these other ancillary pieces, that's not part of the soul and soul food. You have fish, you have chicken, you have turkey, you have pork, and you have the ingredients that are easily digested, easily processed through your body. Then you have grains, and you have beans, and you have string beans and things of that nature, and potatoes. And then you put that together, and it enriches you and the family. But when we start adding other things, all these ancillary breads and all these ancillary dishes that are not part of our culture, again, it takes away from who we are, what we are, what we have. And when you take away who we are, what we are, what we have, what you do is suffer the consequences of always trying to add into it. One of the reasons I did this episode today is because I've noticed that a lot of people are struggling collectively. Like, oh man, if we had this, and if they financed this, and if I had the money to do this, not realizing, because we are the soul of the United States of America, and we created the food called soul food, and we pieced it together and made it a delicacy. we can use those same principles to be successful. You have creative people saying, well, Hollywood doesn't want to redline my movie. They don't want to create it. They want to finance my play. They don't want to do this and do that. But see, we've got literally thousands and upon thousands of blueprints of people doing those things. Gordon Parks, Melvin Van Peebles, uh, currently Issa Rae, people like Country Wayne. These people have Big Jaw, Ken Edwin. They've taken small chunks of money, invested into their art and their ideas, and put them on YouTube. Ken Aaron and Big Jaw, they are financially stable right now. Issa Rae and Country Wayne are millionaires. Tyler Perry, he's done it to the point where he's a billionaire. So how is it that we have 4 examples right in front of us, and we think we need the extras and the size? I need Hollywood you got to be independent, but you also have to get a mainstream Netflix cosign. But you got people like the brother Ali Sadiq having multi-million-dollar opportunities based on his talent, his drive, and his will. And YouTube are free. And what we can do is even make it even more enhanced, because most of the time when you're on YouTube, you see us. You see our music, our culture, our style, our dance, our communication patterns on YouTube. But what if we all lifted ourselves and moved over to Mansa, which will be the Black Tubi/YouTube? All those sponsorships, the Nikes, the Army, the Adidas, the liquor companies, the chip and snack companies, they will go over to Mansa, which gives you a better deal. And when you have a better deal, you make more money. When you have more money, you enhance yourself. When you enhance yourself, you don't have to worry about these things. See, we're in this competition. You ever notice your grandparents never had competitions on cook-offs? I'm gonna make the best sweet potato pie. No, you bought whatever you bought, and that was the addition to it. Why are you in competition with me? Why are you in competition with your friends? Why are you? Guess what? Maybe my friend, maybe Stacy is better than me at this. So why don't I get behind Stacy and push him? And the higher Stacy goes, the higher I go. And then Fred, and then John, and then next thing you know, then we create our own trickle down effect. You know, the lies that they tell us in corporate America now, the lies that they tell us about capitalism, and the trickle down effect. But it never seems to trickle down to our community. Explain to me how Rube Foster could create the Negro Leagues, and other people can create. I forgot the brother's name that created the Black Basketball League, and the men who went up to Canada and created hockey. How is it that they can create these things 100 years ago? But we always say, see, you need this. This is what will make you big time. Like our brother Prime, God bless you, Coach Prime. He showed us that if we start supporting HBCUs, ESPN will come to us. And when they come to us, guess what happens? We dictate the terms. Oh man, I understand. Yes, that a lot of HBCUs are controlled by the states. What about the private ones? You can have the private HBCUs that are owned and run and directed by us create their own league. All you need is 2 leagues, just like they have the WAC and the MEAC. But we can create our own. And we can create things, and then we can come together and we can support it. You know, you have people bombing Detroit from here in Chicago, bombing Green Bay, bombing Minnesota, bombing. But what if we start bombing Jackson, Mississippi? What if we start bombing Pine Bluff, Arkansas? What if we start bombing Prairie View, Texas? What if we start bombing Houston Tillerson? What if we start bombing South Carolina? What if we start bombing the Demon Deacons, North Carolina? If we start putting that same energy into our thing, then the NCAA, y'all can have it. It's cool. See, we have to get away from always chasing the millions and overlooking the hundreds of thousands. It's like, you know that saying, see a penny and pick it up, and all the day you have the luck. Some people, if you say it's a quarter and a penny on the ground, what would you pick up? Some people will pick the quarter. Other people will say, I'm going to pick up the quarter and the penny because it's better to have 26 cents. See, I'm not going to ask you to not maximize your ability to earn, But what I am going to do is say, hey, Black coaches nationwide at these HBCUs, Black coaches nationwide at these high schools, why don't we start networking? See, there's no reason for a coach in Los Angeles, California, and the coaches in South Carolina not to know each other, because we have the internet, we have Twitter, we have Instagram, we have strict threads, we have Spill, the black social media, we have Facebook. We can connect, and there shouldn't be a young Black man or woman without the ability to get a free education due to their athletic prowess. But we're not doing that because we're chasing Iowa, and we're chasing Illinois, and we're chasing Indiana, and we're chasing Michigan because they're pristine. But most of the doctors, most of the lawyers, most of the hey, I know for a fact 92% of the Black women architects come from HBCU. So why are we not pouring into our dishes in the soul food lexicon? See, we've been, yeah, it's one of the things that I hear on a regular basis. We started this. If it wasn't for us, but what we do is we get it and then we go, well, I can no longer live over here because we've been duped into believing because I have, the people who have not around me will attempt to attack me. No, they won't. No, they will not. Are there people in this world who are violent and they're jealous and they do things to you because you have? Of course they are. They're doing that to poor people. They're doing that to rich people. They're doing that to anybody because they're filled with hate and envy and jealousy. So you can't move to the rich part of town, because guess what? It's rich people that want to do away with you because now you're over there. And how did you get what they have? But what you could do is create a section of town. That's where the rich of us stay, and the middle class of us stay, and then the striving of us, because we're not poor, we're underfunded, and we're striving. We're not going to call each other poor anymore, because poor is lack thereof, and we're not lacking of anything. We're exceeding of everything, but we're not maximizing. But when I want, see, it's those sides that get us, the extra sides. We don't need a whole tub of extra sweet potatoes, and we don't need extra potato salad. We don't need extra coleslaw or whatever the side. We don't need extra pans of dressing. We need what we brought to the table. Everybody gets a plate, and then everybody's full. But we want to eat until we busting out of our clothing. But guess what? It's enough of us. There's enough of us to whereas if we just support each other, we don't need anybody else. Look, like I showed you a couple of weeks ago, if 400,000, that's is on paper is 45 to 50 million of us. I think it's more like 60 million of us in this country. But just do the simple math. 400,000 Black people took 15 cents out of each $800 and each dollar that they earn. At the end of it, you would have a boatload of money. Invest that in a predominantly Black bank. At the end of the year, you'd have $2.3 billion. That's with just 400,000. When you look at things, 400,000 of us is not a lot. So when you're talking about 40 million people, 400,000 is 1/2 of 1%. We change the financial landscape at that point, because now we have a chain of Black grocery stores nationwide. We have truck drivers delivering our food nationwide. We have farmers who will get financing nationwide. Now we got crops in our name. We have meat in our name. We have poultry in our name. And we don't need anything. That's what that plate looks like then. You notice that nothing is running over the side. It's enough of each dish. We don't have to have overflow. What we need to have is what we need. And of course, some people will rise to the top. Some people will continue to rise, and it will be a blossoming of a community. But we keep saying we want the extra sides. We want the big time. How is it that just the NFL, the greatest pass rusher of all time, arguably, is David Deacon Jones, HBCU. One of the greatest tight ends of all time is Shannon Sharp, HBCU. Two of the greatest wide receivers of all time, Terrell Owens, and Jerry Rice, HBCUs. Arguably the greatest running back of all time, Walter Payton, HBCU. Michael Strahan, HBCU. We could field an entire team with HBCU players. The first black quarterback to ever win a Super Bowl, HBCU, Doug Williams. One of the best quarterbacks to come out of in the NFL in the last 20 years, Steve McNair, HBCU. I can go chapter, book, and verse about HBCU people, and we keep saying that's the big time. So if we start focusing on our own thing, you know how much talent we overlook. Aeneas Williams, cornerback, HBCU, that we don't pay attention to. Avery Johnson, point guard, world champion point guard, HBCU. Earl Monroe, HBCU. Willis Reed, HBCU. Charles Oakley, Ben Wallace, HBCU, HBCU. You see what I'm saying? How is it that the people who attract the most attention worldwide look like us? The people who attract the most attention, the hardest worker, the most thorough, the people who set the pace are from us. But we keep looking for those extras, the extra side. Why? Because we've been told that we are not good enough. I'm going to show you this video now. You know, it's Black History time. I'm going to show you this video right now. And it's going to show you, it's going to be proof positive of we don't need anybody, anything, anywhere. We just need us. We need to believe in us. We don't need anybody, anything, anywhere. We just need us. And when we have us, we are unstoppable. We are unstoppable, but we don't seem to believe in us. And I need us to start to believe in us. This is my main man, Country Boy. I'll be back shortly. Watch the small portion of the video I'll show you, then I'll be back.
Imagine you call the ambulance during a medical emergency and a funeral hearse shows up. No trained medics, no advanced gear, just an undertaker's vehicle arriving to take you to the hospital. This was 1960s America, and this was the reality, especially in Black neighborhoods. But a forgotten team of Black men and women changed all that. They weren't doctors, they weren't politicians, they were just ordinary Black men and women from Pittsburgh's Hill District who became America's first paramedics. So today, we're going to talk about the untold story of Freedom House. I'm your host, Country Boy, and this is One Mic Black History. If you like stories like this, you can find more stories like this at onemichistory.com. If you like audio-only episodes, you can find my podcast wherever you get your podcasts. But without further ado, let's get started. Before the late 1960s, emergency medical care in America was extremely basic, almost non-existent. Back then, if someone had a serious injury or an illness, they were often taken to the hospital in a police vehicle or a funeral hearse driven by people who weren't trained to treat patients. These vehicles had almost no medical equipment, meaning that there was little to no care given on the way to the hospital. Sadly, many people lost their lives because they didn't receive timely medical attention before reaching the hospital. In the Hill District of Pittsburgh, PA, the community was mainly Black and faced severe poverty. So emergency medical care was particularly difficult. Because of racial segregation and discrimination, basic city services like ambulance care were barely provided. Often residences who needed an ambulance got a police response instead. And relations between the Black residences and the mostly white police force were extremely tense. Residences frequently had bad experiences, facing mistreatment, slow response times, and even refused help because police mistakenly thought that the sick and injured were drunk. Wealthy white neighborhoods could afford private ambulance services, but the Hill District was left with nothing close to reliable emergency medical care. This lack of proper medical care wasn't just limited to Pittsburgh. It was a serious issue that faced the entire country. In fact, a 1966 report showed that at the time, American soldiers fighting in Vietnam had a better chance of surviving serious injuries than citizens here in the States. Something had to change.
See this property on Craigslist for $4.
As you see, we have been fighting this fight for a long time. If you go to www, and you already know the drill, if you go to www.theendofthebench.com, if you go to www.theendofthebench.com, that's my email address. I'll talk about that later. If you go to www.theendofthebench.com, you'll be able to watch that video in its entirety, or you can go right on YouTube if you watch it on YouTube and check out, subscribe. Please subscribe to Country Boy because the man is doing great work. He helps my show be a better show. If you enjoy what I do, you'll enjoy what he does as well. And I'm actually working to see if I can get Country Boy to come on. But as you see, there's a need. And our soul, we took people, just regular people, came together, made that soul food. We are the main ingredients. We don't need extra sides. And then now we're going to work on leftovers and to-go plates. See, when we come together as a group, as a unit, as a community, as a clan, as a people, we are unstoppable. Then that's when you have that overflow that everybody's trying to get to, the bag. That's when you have that. That's when you have that overflow because, again, 1/2 of 1% is 400,000. 1/2 of 1% is 400,000. And I do this all the time. If you had something that you were selling for $35, you would make $14 million. If you sold 35,000, if you sold $35 t-shirts for 400,000 people, you have $14 million. Even if you take 65% of that, if you take 65% of that, you will still be set for life. So why are we always trying to get the extras sides? And why do we not realize we're the main ingredient? We have become laxed because we're trying to get to the leftover and to the to-go plates. See, in order to get leftover and to-go plates, everybody must do a little, and then no one has to do a lot. So your big mama used to make the best food in the world. So you can't cook like Big Mama. So what you do is you bring Big Mama the food. You help Big Mama clean the food. If you like, one of the things that we like in the community is chitlins. You help her clean the chitlins. She gonna walk you through it. Somebody help her thaw out the bird. Some of us break the green beans. And that's how the meal is a wonderful meal. You think it's because grandma has something special. No, it's because it's nothing but soul and care in this food. We are the soul food. We lack the care and the love that our grandmothers, our grandparents, and our great-grandparents and our elders put into us because we're worried about ourselves now. If you would allow my daughter to be hurt and I allow your son to be hurt, that means the meal is going to be off. That means there will be no leftovers because it's going to be something missing. But if you just take 5 minutes out your day and thinking back to back, because, hey, man, 60 days from now, man, we're going to be doing that Thanksgiving thing, y'all. 65, no, it's like 90 days. 90 days from now, we're going to be doing that Thanksgiving thing. And what we're going to do on Thanksgiving, hey, oh, man, it ain't like it used to be. So if it's not like it used to be, maybe that uncle that you can't stand the sight of, maybe you need to just bury it for that day. That aunt that's always talking about you behind your back, just bury it for a day. That cousin that be stealing, just keep his ass in the front room so you keep an eye on his ass. Make that joker clap when in the bathroom so you know he ain't stealing. And laugh at it. Laugh at those situations like you do with your homies when he ain't around. See, we have to become more tolerant because even that lousy cousin that be stealing in line, he can fix the hell out of a car. He can fix the hell out of a car. That uncle, he can fix the hell out of some staff. Everybody's good at something. But we only need to embrace each other. We don't need to like each other. We need to embrace each other as a community because we must never forget, if you mess with my uncle, even though I can't stand him, I'll knock your head off. If the other people come and bother your family, then the group of you defend the family. And the family is not biological. So you can't choose your relatives. You choose your family. And we need to get back to that. It's a communal family. Start speaking to people. So now the love is overflowing. When overflowing love, you have leftovers. And then when you move up the road, down the road, across the country, you take a piece of Chicago with you. And then you interact with other Chicagoans. And then you inculcate the people in LA to your Chicago culture. You take some of that Chicago, LA culture. And guess what? You didn't even realize both of y'all come from Arkansas. So that's why y'all mesh so well. And then you build that community. And now it's new traditions. We've gotten away from overflowing with the love, with the care, with the tolerance. So there are no to-go places at this point. But we can re-establish those to-go places. You know, we can start buying those containers so everybody can get a to-go plate. Because you knew somebody was going to eat too much. You knew somebody wasn't going to get enough. And guess what? Big Mama never gets a plate. So that's why we need to make sure we taking care of Big Mama too. Nah, baby, I just did it for y'all. Nah, but we doing this for you. Pick an elder in your family, and you and your cousins, and you and your uncles, and you and your aunts. Parade them around for one day. Create leftovers. And then you start looking at that cousin you can't stand because he might just be a clown, or she might be a clown. But then you grow tolerance because you love that elder. We can no longer just involve ourselves in this American experience. We must extract, we must rise above this American experience. It's a Black experience that we need to be worried about. And then we can go to YouTube and watch people who like myself. And you hit that like, hit that share, tell a friend to type in and subscribe if you haven't. Watch people like myself. You watch the Country Waynes, and you watch the Ali Sadiqs, and you watch the Issa Raes, and you watch the Ken Irvins and the Big Jaws. And we enhance their lives and they enhance ours. And then we don't have to worry about people like Robert Townsend getting blackballed. Because if we start watching Robert Townsend specials and engaging in Robert Townsend, and Robert Townsend understand that YouTube is waiting on us, on him, or Mansa is waiting on him and he has the finances, and we go flood the internet by supporting our brothers and sisters. We go to these plays, these Black plays, instead of sitting around going, well, the acting isn't up to par. This isn't that bad, you know. Instead of watching to say see what's wrong, listen for the story, listen for the engagement, listen for the cultural experience. The best example of what I'm talking about is August Wilson. August Wilson, you may not know who he is, but he's the man who wrote the plays that Denzel Washington and now his children are converting to movies. First one you saw was Fences, and then you saw Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, and The Piano is the latest one. If you listen closely, you listen to the way they use Black vernacular. Boy Will, they call a young man Boy Willie. That's like calling them little, like my son is BJ, Boy Brian. See, it's things that are culturally effective to us. When you watch our brother Ryan Coogler, who has the multi-million-dollar budget, so he can make it extravagant. But if we start pouring into, make sure we watch Malcolm, what's his name? Malcolm Washington. He's one of the up-and-coming dopest directors out here. That Piano Man. Then you watch Spike Lee's new joint coming out Friday on Apple TV. And then you watch his cousins, Girls Trip. And you watch all these other things. You watch all these other things that we're engaging in. That's how you enhance the community. See, my man Mo, he wants to do this radio thing. He wants to do this radio thing because he has a love and a fervor for music. So we need to support my man Mo in that. My man Phil doing the same thing on YouTube Music. And we do that. I mean, YouTube TV or YouTube Music or whatever one it is, but he's doing it. It's DJ Feel Good. You support that. And see, if we get behind them, now we have a cultivated sound that we are engaging in. Mo, Phil loves hip hop and all music. Mo loves all music. Just imagine if we blow them up. 400,000 of us get behind Mo and Phil. Then y'all get behind me. And then we continue to expand. Again, more ingredients into the soul food. And then it makes the meal work. See, we got to stop complaining and critiquing. See, who the hell made us critics? See, man, H-Rap should have wore a gray shirt. It didn't work off the light. See, if he did, who gives a damn what H-Rap had on? Do you know I had people? The reason I always bring that shirt thing is one time I was running late and I didn't want to do my podcast late. And I did the show in a fleece. I think it was one of my best shows ever. And one of my good friends said, my man, why you wear that fleece? I'm like, dude, I just gave you a way to become a millionaire. And you worry about what the hell I got on? See, it's constructive criticism. No, it's not, because constructive means you criticize and then you tell me what I could do better. But if you just criticize or you're being cynical, you're hoping, or even if you're not hoping, you are putting a dent in my rhythm. And that's a pothole I have to go around. All I'm saying is this, people. We are the ingredients, the main ingredients to soul food. Soul food is Black people. It's not a meal. You are chitlins. You are yams. You are ribs. You are cornbread. You are mac and cheese. You are greens. And you're the spices. See, you think those are just items. Those things taste like trash if you don't add that soul into the food. We are the food so our children and our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren can eat off of. So we must pour the soul into them. And when we pour the soul into them, we realize we're the main ingredients, then we don't need no extra sides. We don't need the steak and all this other stuff that other cultures add into us and the big time. So you need to get a big restaurant. No, if I fill up Crystals in Chicago or MacArthur's, Crystals in the west suburbs, MacArthur's in the city, or some joints on the south side of Chicago, if I fill them up, I'll be richer than I ever thought I could be. So I don't need the extra sides. It's enough. It's like I said, 400,000. It's 1/2 or 1% of documented people in America. Do you know how much money I would make? Do you know how much better my podcast would be if I can get 1/2 of 1%? If my man Feel Good, my man Mo, had 400,000 people tapping. Do you know how many commercials would be on their joints? And then they getting paid. And now, guess what? Because I'm the spice. Mo is a link. Phil is a link. I'm the connection. They come together to create a radio station. My man Big Illinois, he could do it. Look, do you understand the potential that we have just in the small community of podcasters? But we're in competition because we think we need the mainstream, the extra sides. See, I got to make it big. I got to get a Grammy. No, I don't. I need, like it's this MC Tech 9. 9 been rapping since the early 90s. 99% of y'all have never heard of him. He's a multimillionaire. He makes about $9 million a year. And he ain't getting none of his songs on the radio. He ain't getting none of his songs on the video plays. Nothing. He's just an artist. Because he understands if I can get 1/2 or 1% of the people in this world, in this country, or in this damn community to support me, game over. So we don't need any extras. We don't need any extra sides. We need the meal. And then when you're doing that, you living in abundance because you got all your people supporting you. And guess what? Now you got leftovers, and those leftovers go to blessings to somebody else. Hey, you know what? We had enough over here. I know you kind of struggling. Homeless dude, here you go. Here go a plate. Homeless lady, homeless family, go to a homeless shelter, and you hand out that food. Or then you walking out of the gas station. Hey, can you spare some? Yes, I do have that for you. And then the positive energy goes out, and you handing out to go plates because you got leftovers. And guess what? That positive energy comes back and enhances your life and your experience. If it don't go that way, then maybe, just maybe, we're in the situation that we're doing now. Struggling, hoping what we should do, what we could do, what ain't gonna happen. You can believe what's not gonna happen, or you can know what will happen if you just follow the history that I show you on here on a regular basis, the videos from Country Boy and One Mic History. And you can go to, if you just come into the program, you can go to www.theendofthebench.com and watch this episode in its entirety and watch the Country Boy episode. You can get both of us views, you enhance both of us, and then we kill it. And if you have anything that you think you want to talk to me about, you can email me at theendofthebench.com, THAENDOFDABENCH@gmail.com. At that point, we communicate, we have community, and then we moving forward. With that being said, I want to thank each and every one of you for tapping in today. Have a wonderful day. Thank you for the support. It's been real. See y'all tomorrow. 2 fingers, one word.
stop name-calling one another, stop cursing one another, stop gossiping about one another, stop squabbling with one another, stop being discourteous and disrespectful to one another, stop fighting one another, stop killing one another, stop using and selling drugs to one another, stop throwing down trash where black people have to live, work, and play. Did I say stop stealing, stop robbing? Now, as I said, the pressure of the white supremacy dynamic that forces black people to think negatively about themselves and set up negative environmental conditions will produce these negative behaviors. You see, but that's just like somebody putting you in check from the other side of the board. So you have to learn the tactics and strategies, the behavioral tactics and strategies, do you see, that will stop that from happening. So you're constantly on the offensive and the defense about preserving or evolving and developing a very positive image and concept of self.